Good morning. This morning I'm talking about the realm of beauty. I was thinking about this as a title. Is this a magnetic title? Would it draw people? Probably not. But if I had said, let's fight for beauty, we'd have more takers. Maybe. Anyway, let me start with the words of the Master. And the reason I bring this up is because we want to have ears that can perceive and respond to the resonance of the words of the Master, and not to interpret or to let our brain believe that this is just a quotation by your next door neighbor. But really think about that. Every single word is the word of the most pure being that we can imagine. A being that went through all the perils of life, survived, and became a master over their personality life and beyond, bodies beyond that we can imagine but haven't yet experienced. And now this particular individual, Master Moria, is part of the planetary hierarchy, which is in contact with the Lords of Shambhala and have magnetic centers in the universe. So what we're going to hear this morning in this verse is this person bringing an idea from magnetic stations in space to this planet, to our ears. He says, the miracle of beauty in the adornment of our lives will exalt mankind. The miracle of beauty. He says, raise high your light. Illumine the beauties of my temple. Teach the joy of beauty. Teach the happiness of wisdom. Teach the bliss of love. Teach the glory of unity with God. He says, I will grant you the power and fleetness of Mercury. And finally, he says, go forward without doubt, without fear, without turning back. And that's from paragraph 45, Leaves of Moria's Garden 1. So beauty. These words of the Great One are so simple. It's a short word. We don't have to put it in Webster's dictionary voice to listen to how to pronounce it. It only has 6 letters. Beauty. The Master is telling us that if we adorn our life, our actions, our emotions, our thoughts, our relationships with beauty, he promises, if we can do this, that we will see great changes in our life. He said the miracle of beauty in the adornment of our daily lives will exalt mankind, will exalt humanity. So imagine this. You're a journalist, a reporter, and you want to work for CNN or MSNBC, and you go in to be interviewed for this job, and they say, will you adorn your words with beauty, your thoughts? Will you adorn your thoughts with beauty? Will you promise to exalt mankind? Just imagine. And we can imagine that, and this is what the teaching says: plant seeds in space that will come back and resonate to the ears of humanity. Imagine when you are speaking, thinking, relating with people, and most especially in complicated situations, that you are adorning your words and actions with beauty. If we can do this, our life will inspire others and exalt humanity. Just imagine. Imagine that we are thinking 24 hours a day how to speak, how to act, how to think in such a way that we always adorn our actions with beauty. And I think we can all attest to the fact that it is not easy, particularly when you are interacting with a person from another culture, from another nationality, from a person whose first language is not English, or whatever your first language is. Imagine that person engaging in communication with you from a different language, from a different culture, from a different country, and trying to create a bond of beauty in your communication, in your actions with them. It is not easy. And particularly so in today's world. Most of you who are listening today were not born knowing the internet. I know some of you were. But the internet has put us in touch with one another all over the world. And some of us engage with those people all over the world every single day. And thus our challenge: how do we adorn our actions, our words, our thoughts with the resonance of beauty that they will absorb and understand, and we will absorb and assimilate with one another? And this is why we need to think 24 hours a day what we say. And then we have to take into account their own note. We're told a person who has an open heart can hear the music of the spheres. This means that they can hear a whole symphony of nationalities and culture and language, and understand and assimilate and adapt, to that level, because they have an open heart. If the individual you are engaged with has a closed heart, a one-note heart, then your work is much more difficult, because your symphonic chord has to find a note that will resonate harmoniously and cooperatively with that one note. So it's not easy. So here's an exercise for today. Until you go to bed tonight, see if you can charge your thoughts with beauty, your actions with beauty, your emotions with beauty. Even if someone attacks you with some kind of ugliness, were you able to manifest beauty? And this is how Agni Yoga is practiced. Practice beauty the best that you can. The transformation of life, the changes in our life, come when we make our actions, our thoughts, our speech, our words increasingly beautiful. It is difficult, but if we do not start it now, it's going to become even more and more difficult as we get older. Our ears don't hear quite as well when we're older as when we're 5 years old, although 5-year-olds tend to be deaf. But I'm speaking metaphorically here. So start today taking actions and defeats to make all your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual expressions really beautiful. If you have sensitive ears, if you hear music, the tonality of music, if you can sense the resonance of a pure note, it is going to help you expand your understanding of beauty and the expression of beauty, through your own words, through your actions, and perhaps eventually, and even most specifically and importantly, your thoughts. Daniel Enton, some of you have heard this story, and you'll hear it again, I'm sure. Daniel Enton, he was the director of the Nicholas Roerich Museum in New York. In January of 2003, that seems so long ago, he was trying to define beauty for those that were listening to him. And this is what he said. He said, the dictionary definition, something that provides aesthetic pleasure, certainly cannot mean what we mean in Agni Yoga when we talk about beauty. He says the dictionary will not do justice to many of the terms that we use so often. He says beauty is great, it is grand, and has an all-embracing principle. He says, so maybe the definition of beauty is best when it includes the aggregate of all of our ideas about the subject, rather than the very limited definition provided by the dictionary. He says, this reminds me of the problem of defining God. There are teachings that discuss the 99 attributes of God. The 99 is a metaphor for the infinitude of attributes of God. He said, I attended a 1-week seminar on the subject, and everyone finished the week with the knowledge that knowing God is impossible. He said, I think it is the same with beauty. It is so huge a concept that we will never be able to put our minds or words around it. A long period of study can only lead each of us to come to some very limited, partial idea of what beauty is. He says it is love, beauty, and action that lies in the heart of the teaching of Agni Yoga. Love, beauty, and action. Love, beauty, and action. We know what love is when we fall in love, when we love our pets, our gardens, our neighbors and relatives. But he says, what does it mean to love the universe? To love all that exists, the stinky as well as the aromatic. How do we define that kind of love, that kind of beauty? Unquote. Oftentimes people ask, how can I put Agni Yoga to practice in my daily life? Here's one answer. The teachings of Agni Yoga try to make it simple for us by saying it is through beauty that you want to approach life. Isn't that interesting when People think about yoga, they think of hatha yoga, they think about mechanical exercises and putting on leotards and yoga clothes and yoga mats and all things yoga, right? Go to a person who practices hatha yoga, say, how can you put Agni yoga to practice in your daily life? Well, let me show you my mat. This is the greatest yoga mat you can ever find. So Agni yoga is not that kind of yoga, although it includes it, because hatha yoga is a process of integrating the etheric with the physical body and strengthening the centers in your body, purifying these centers in your body in such a way it makes a connection with higher worlds. That's the first stage. But that was thousands of years ago. And now in today's age, we are trying to understand and put into practice Agni yoga. So we are told a way to do this is to approach life through beauty. So this is telling us that the teaching is life, right? The teaching is life. Through beauty will you approach. Understand and remember, the Master says, I have entrusted you to pronounce beauty. I bid you to pronounce beauty. If you desire the gates to be open to you, use my sign. And his sign is beauty. From Leaves of Moria's Garden, paragraph 333, he says, I said beauty in combat and victory. I said beauty, and failure was covered by beauty. He said mountains blossomed with beauty, and you must give entrance to the flowers of beauty. Let the children approach. Bow before him who brought the beauty of the great universe. Understand, he says, there are no possessions, nor decisions, nor pride, nor repentance. There is one thing alone, beauty. And to you I say, guard, expound, and affirm this beauty. Therein lies your way. He said, with beauty shall I meet those who come to me. And they are already on their way. The teaching is given to beautify all existence. Make your life more beautiful in any way that you can. This is the meaning of the teaching. But the teaching also presents a difficult path. It is easy to be ugly, but it is difficult to be beautiful. Think about that. Here's a story. Once there was a little boy playing with a wooden cane. He started knocking down flowers. Then he broke the branches on two little trees. A nearby stranger became very upset and asked him, what do you think you're doing? And the boy told the stranger, leave me alone, I'm just having fun. Whoever taught this little boy, his teachers, his family, his friends, his parents, created a great failure by teaching him to create ugliness. This little boy was so different from a nearby old neighbor. One day the neighbor was planting little trees next to the road. His grandson asked him, Grandpa, why are you planting all these trees now? You're 90 years old. And the grandfather answered, so that people enjoy the beauty of the trees for many generations. The teaching foresees the beautifying of existence. Otherwise, it would be submerged in ugliness. Isn't that powerful? And, I was thinking about Greta Thunberg and all of her millions of followers of young children, kids. What hope they are bringing into the consciousness, into the society of humanity by making humanity aware. Not just a handful of aware people, but the whole body of young people moving toward striving to protect and beautify the planet. And it's not just Greta these days, it's the leadership you find in her followership. Because many leaders are coming out of I don't want to say the word woodwork, that's not right. It's like they were born to be here at this moment. And she is bringing that light in them out, that awareness out of them, to be passionate at that young age, to do something to beautify the existence of the whole of life. Our actions, whether we are a child or an adult, must be illuminating. This is why it's, the teaching is saying that the path of Agni Yoga is difficult. It's easy to be ugly in today's world. And we're seeing this battle between ugliness and beauty, more so than we ever have, which is sandwiched in fear. So we have to fight every day. We have to resist the disharmony of ugliness. And there is no justification. We cannot justify ugliness. We cannot justify ugliness in ourselves, in our thoughts, in our actions. It is important that when we are relating with other people, young or old, in our home, in our office, our actions, relations, and interaction, our thoughts and emotions must enlighten them and enlighten ourselves. For example, if somehow through your actions or your words you create suspicion, or even make strange gestures with your mouth or your eyes. Think of the people that have their glasses and they look over their glasses at us. How does that make us feel? We worry. Have I done something wrong? Am I in trouble? Am I wearing something weird? Why are they looking at me like that? If you create suspicion or make strange gestures with your mouth or eyes, or even your hands, or the tonality of your voice, you do not enlighten them. Enlighten others with the beauty of your words and thoughts. Do not do anything unless you feel that what you are doing is enlightening yourself and others. In ugliness, there is no cooperation. So make your house beautiful. Make your clothes beautiful. there will be more cooperation. If you dress very ugly, others are not going to cooperate with you. Always, beauty creates cooperation. Isn't it interesting? Beauty creates cooperation. So this is something you can challenge yourself with. Observe. Create an environment of beauty and see if it brings cooperation into your environment. Pope John the 23rd. This is such a sweet story. A story, as I see it, about power and beauty and humility. He said, "It often happens that I awake at night and begin to think about a serious problem and decide that I must tell the Pope about it. Then I woke up completely and remembered, I am the Pope." Isn't that, I just think that's so endearing. Beauty leads us to our archetypes. An archetype is our highest dream of perfection. Eventually, beauty will lead us there. If we relate with beauty, with people through beauty, we have become responsible for leading them toward their dreams and visions, their highest archetype. So the teaching describes and tells us that there are 4 phases of beauty. See how scientific this is? It's not just a feel-good. It's like, let's point out something really definitive that we can grab hold of to better understand beauty. So the teaching says there are 4 phases of beauty. The first phase is that we enjoy it, that we enjoy beauty. And then the next phase is to assimilate it. So we're going to enjoy it and then assimilate it. And then the third phase is to become beauty and finally manifest. Enjoy, assimilate, become, and manifest. People say how beautiful it is. The music is beautiful, or he or she is beautiful, or the painting is beautiful. Or we leave the concert and say it was so beautiful. But you see, it is more than that. You can say these things, but did you assimilate? Did you assimilate the painting, the music? It is like the teaching. We can read and find so much beauty in the teaching and say so, but did we assimilate what we read? We must assimilate the teaching. We must assimilate the beauty. And in doing so, we are going to make the teaching an energy source within us. The energy of beauty, a source within us. We become beauty, and then we manifest beauty. Enjoy, assimilate, right? Enjoy, assimilate, become, and manifest. Unless the heart has been opened, it cannot recognize the benefit of beauty. The same is true regarding the teaching. A deep understanding of the teaching requires an open heart, many notes. The physical note, etheric, astral, mental, higher mind, intuitive, Buddhic, atmic, monadic. All of these notes will resonate in your heart if you have an open heart. So unless the heart has been opened, it cannot recognize beauty. A deep understanding of the teaching requires an open heart. Without an open heart, a person's nature is anchored in the density of matter. Without an open heart, we can only assimilate one note, my house, my husband, my wife, my child, my money. An open heart can assimilate the resonance of the 7 strings played by the inner presence, your transpersonal self. The heart in this situation is so beautiful, so harmonious. It sees and hears and knows what others cannot see, cannot hear, and cannot know. They absolutely cannot see, hear, and know it. All they can hear is one note. Only an open heart can unite the consciousnesses separated by the centuries. A great one speaks about this. He said, we had an initiate who reincarnated continuously for 500 or 600 years. He did great work in politics, education, science, arts, economy, religion, and philosophy in every single incarnation. Once I was walking on a European street when the man suddenly came and hugged me. He recognized me, but his mind didn't tell him who I was and what his contact with me was. His contact was achieved only through the heart. An open heart is connected with one's inner presence, with the transpersonal self. The transpersonal self is a beam of life emanating from the cosmic heart. An open heart is connected with other hearts by a silver thread. When the heart is open, it can assimilate, register what is going on globally, solar, galactic, all these hearts and the cosmic heart. Another step we can take with the energy of beauty is to try to make other people beautiful. When we make other people beautiful, we are proving that they really enjoy beauty, that they can assimilate beauty, that they can become beauty. And now you are sharing beauty so that we can keep that level of beauty. Once we enjoy, assimilate, become, and share beauty, we must keep this our achieved level of beauty. This is challenging. When you're under attack and you see things that are going downhill, they're jumped off the abyss into the depth of nothingness, we still have to strive toward manifesting beauty. That's the challenge of Agni Yoga. We cannot enjoy the level that we have become unless we raise others to that level. Anyway, this is what I believe. So people think that they can be rich if other people become poor. This is such an illogical type of thinking. The new kind of thinking is we cannot enjoy the level that we have become unless we raise others to our level. Master M said, "Illumine the beauties of my temple." Here the temple refers to the human being, to the teaching. It is a great action to bring out the beauties hidden in each human being, instead of emphasizing the ugliness planted in them. The more beauty we see in a human being, the more we are going to respect that person and cooperate with that person. We hear stories throughout the ages of great ones that hobnob with the ugly, and people say, how can that great one hobnob with that stupid, ugly human being? Now we understand. The teaching is a temple. We must try to illumine or highlight the beauties hidden in the teaching and bring them to the attention of those around and about us, and yes, to the world, to humanity. This is what we are trying to do here in our Sunday talks and their placement on YouTube. It is to bring the beauty of the teaching to the attention of the world. The Master said, teach the bliss of love. How can we do this? What brings bliss to you? Perhaps the best way to understand this is to know the opposite of bliss. For example, hatred. Hatred does not bring bliss to us. Hatred complicates. It creates chaos. It creates confusion. We have to learn how to recognize the opposite of bliss. Revenge. Revenge complicates our life. Destruction complicates our life. We want to live happily and enjoy ourselves. To do this means we can teach ourselves and other people that love is better than hatred. Because love brings bliss. Hatred brings poison. Bliss heals us. Hatred makes us sick, destroys our relationships and our future progress. Bliss is a substance that says will one day medically or scientifically be found, or is going to be found in our nerve channels. This is very advanced teaching. You said, yeah, that's science fiction. No, because we can experience happiness and see the change that happiness causes within our whole physical mechanism. So imagine bliss. Bliss was like a light that's going in and removing cellular damage based on the karma of past incarnations. Bliss is the energy of intuition. It heals all of our emotional sicknesses and dissolves mental crystallizations, fanaticism, and greed. This is why every great one who came to this world spoke about love. Take Buddha's writings and read them. Take the words of Jesus and read them. They are all about love because they know the secret of love. It is through the energy of love we find the joy of beauty. In Lisa Moria's Garden, paragraph 174, says, as those who are attracted by love will be born to the realm of love and transported, they will comprehend the joy of beauty. And this is interesting. The Master said something about Mercury. Remember that? Okay. He told us, I will grant you the power and fleetness of Mercury. Mercury is known as the messenger, a messenger between God and humanity. This messenger goes everywhere and spreads the beauty and wisdom of God. He has wings on his heels, so he is very rapid and very sharp and very speedy. Says, if you do these things, you will have the speed of Mercury. He is telling us that if we have the speed of Mercury, Our good actions will take off everywhere in 1 second. Our good motives will take off, and we will have a speed that is higher than any speed. And the result, we will exalt mankind. So do we dare think that way? The Master encourages this kind of thinking. To be exalted means to be lifted up. It means our consciousness is changed and our level is changed. So I'm going to close by repeating the verse that I started with. Again, this is paragraph 45, Leaves of Moria's Garden, called The Call. The miracle of beauty in the adornment of our daily lives will exalt mankind. He says, raise high your light. Illumine the beauties of my temple. Teach the joy of beauty. Teach the happiness of wisdom. Teach the bliss of love. Teach the glory of unity with God. I will grant you the power and fleetness of Mercury. Go forward without doubt, without fear, without turning back. Isn't that, it's magnificent. Thank you. Have a good week.